So we return to our heroes in the second proper round of combat. We have one goblin burnt to cinders, and we have one more ready to be pummeled with bow, axe, fire and whatnot. But first up is National the elf, and he has been contemplating his action and decided on another twin shot to try and take out the goblin. Now, the goblin is small, as we already have discussed, and that you of course knows. Allies do not grant any cover to enemies, so the only cover he will get is from the staircase, actually. So that will give him an extra +2 to his armor class, which is then buffed up to 18. National the elf has a +4 dexterity bonus, as well as being proficient with the short bow. That means he has a +6 to hit, meaning he needs a 12 or more to hit the final goblin and take him out of his misery. It has only 2 hit points left, so that should be doable. So let's see how that goes. Here comes the first shot. And that is a 13, so we have a hit. Now the short bow does 1d8 damage, so anything but a 1 will kill the last goblin, and the rest of the heroes are free to do their actions. So here comes the hit on a 6, so the final goblin goes down, and that was Mr. Giglio. And we'll be back with the rest of the heroes' actions. So, having killed off the last goblin, the heroes are trying to do some searching inside the cellar of the burnt down hunting lodge. Now, next up would have been the goblin, but of course he went AWOL. And then we are just going to use our thief, and he's going to move downstairs and start searching the premises. Now I will just start in one sector. I will divide this room into 4 equal squares, and you will start in the left square, which is over here, and for the next act you can tell me if you want to search somewhere else, and if there's anything more specific you want to search. And the dwarf is also going to search, and I will let him search the goblin as he requested if the goblin was killed. And then the wizard is coming downstairs and being ready with a spell. Now we will decide upon that when we continue to see what there is a need for. Remember, you can keep the flaming spear active as a minor action and move it up to 6 squares. If you want to keep that up, just let me know for the next act. Light is a couple of more minutes active, so there's still some light in the room. So let's do some searching. So Mr. Scuttlebutt the thief is searching the dead goblin, and this goblin seems to be some kind of important goblin, because he has a gold chain around his neck. He also has a rather nice short sword. You wouldn't say it's anything special, but compared to the other goblin's short sword, this is much better quality. It also has a leather armor, which is of a good quality, although it has been perforated by arrows by now. So you also find 2 pieces of gold coins. So it seems like this goblin was kind of important or wealthy compared to goblins. Next up you have the dwarf, which is searching the other goblin, And here you can only find 2 copper coins, a rusted and bad short sword, and a low quality leather armor. And lastly, the wizard is coming down and checking out the area, not searching anything, but is ready with a spell in case something should show up. As you take a look in the room, you can see that it's a very dusty, dark, dank cellar. There are footprints on the floor. They are of course left by the goblins. You can also see lots of parchment and rubble after the goblins having feasted upon different kinds of animals. There is a kind of written parchment here if you want to take a look at that. The elf is closest to that. It's on the table, and as you move around searching the cellar, everything becomes very, very quiet. There are no noises from outside. The birds that were doing some chirping is now dead quiet, and suddenly you can hear sounds like something is running or galloping towards you. Without you guys having any time to react, you finally realize that someone is on top of the burnt out hunter's lodge. The wizard, looking up the stairs, can see 2 goblin wolf riders sitting on top, each of their big black wolves, peeking down the trapdoor. One of them looks like an important person, and you can also see that he's wearing the same kind of armor as the goblin being searched by the thief. Suddenly you hear one of them calling in a guttural common language, "They killed my son! Burn them! Burn them!" And just then you can see a fire being lit upstairs, and something is thrown down into the cellar, and then the trapdoor is closed shut, and it sounds like something is positioned on top of it. So the flaming ball hits the table next to the elf and explodes in a ball of flame. The elf and the wizard has to take a dexterity check to be able to avoid the flames coming down. The elf will have an dexterity test on 15, or a difficulty of 15, but if he manages more than 20, he will also be able to grab the parchment that he saw with some written text on it. The elf's dexterity bonus is +4, so he's going to need an 11 to be able to avoid the fires, and a 16 to be able to avoid the fire and grab the parchment. So let's see what national the elf can do. He's rolling a 2. That is a failure, and he will take 1d6 fire damage. The wizard has a dexterity value of +1, so he is going to have to roll for his difficulty check of 15, a 14 or higher to avoid being hit by the flames. Rolling a 2 also, so he will also take 1d6 fire damage. The thief and the dwarf is so far away that they are not affected by the flames, but you now have a serious problem. There's a fire in the cellar. There are lots of wooden tables and bookshelves, and this is not gonna last long. Either you will suffocate from oxygen that is burned up, or the loss of oxygen, or you will burn to death. I'm not sure which death is going to be the worst. So you need to do something now. Damage rolls for the wizard and the elf. The elf has the solid die. The elf takes 1 damage and the wizard takes 4 fire damage. Now you will have to see if you can put out the fire in your clothes, or else it will continue the next round.